This is quite possibly the worst angle to record a video. However, I have some thoughts on the dome from a discussion from one of my classes yesterday. I'm on the way to get a coffee, and so bear with me. However, I had an interesting conversation in my class yesterday. I am graduating shortly, in like 3 months, 2 months. Very excited. But we were just talking in one of my classes about just things that we want to take with us in these next steps of our lives. And my professor was just kind of going on a tangent, and she was saying how to don't give into negative things. She started listing off a few things, one of them being imposter syndrome. So she's like seeing it and talking about it as if it is a bad thing, right? And I didn't want to like throw the whole group discussion in a whole different direction, but in my personal opinion, imposter syndrome is your friend. Like, embrace imposter syndrome. Embrace the opportunity that you did not think you were going to have, you know? I feel like people see imposter syndrome as this negative thing where it's like you think you don't bring as much value to a company or an organization or a production, that you don't think you're bringing as much value as the role that you are holding does, right? But I think that it allows room. Imposter syndrome, experiencing that is you experiencing filling in those shoes. Like, you are actively adding more value, adding that value that you didn't think you had to begin with. And so when you embrace your imposter syndrome, doors start to open for you that you never would have thought would open. At least at that point in your life, maybe even never. But because of the imposter syndrome, because you faked it till you made it, you are now putting yourself in situations and opportunities, you're reaching opportunities that otherwise would not have been available if you had not tapped into your imposter syndrome. Does that make sense? Like, as an example, early last year, I had the opportunity to come on as a production assistant on a film, and because my aunt is the PR person for that film, and so I got to see some really cool people, some really cool scenes, some really cool sets. Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, it was honestly sick. But my aunt, being the lady that she is, she was able to get me a few conversations with the head art director, the head costume designer. First I spoke to the lead costume designer. She was not having it. Anyone in fashion, not anyone, most people in fashion are going to be very snooty, stuck up, very LA. Besides her just not having the greatest attitude, I was just trying to ask her, like, how she got to her role, right? And she was telling me that she is the lead designer on this, film production that's by Amazon. It's gonna be on Amazon Prime, and so that's a big deal. I'm like, how the heck did you score this opportunity, right? And she starts talking to me about imposter syndrome, how she definitely still has imposter syndrome because she never came from a fashion background or anything of that sort, film, fashion, none of that. But how she got into it was fell into it. But she was saying how she experiences this imposter syndrome, but you just have to get over that, because that is exactly how she landed. She went from recording, like styling for local DJs, local rappers, to being the head designer, head wardrobe on a major feature film. So it's like, if you don't embrace it, the opportunity is not even going to present itself. And so sometimes the shoes you are looking to fill, they don't quite fit yet. That doesn't mean that they'll never fit. That does not mean that you will not grow into them. And so that whole conversation, even though she was not great, she was not very present, not an active listener, I will say, it brought me a lot of perspective. And then going from that conversation into the one with the art director, he was very kind, a lot more willing to just sit and answer my questions. You could kind of tell that he knew he was the shit, you know, like he knew he was up there. And so the way that he talked about his job and whatnot, but he also said that he has worked so many oddball jobs, and he kind of just fell into this position, right? And that is like, hey, you might not have the value that they are looking for immediately, but that does not mean you will not have that, you know? And so he was just telling me to, you know, work oddball jobs, see where it and like where you end up, and see what kind of conversations you have, what kind of people you meet, and go from there. Honestly, keep your options open, keep your perspective open, and I think that is the most important part of embracing imposter syndrome, is being open to any possibility, and then those possibilities find you, because you're not closed off. Being closed off is the worst thing you can do for yourself. So with that being said, I still need to get my goddamn coffee. That being said, my faux neck is driving me insane on this sweater, gorgeous sweater. On another note, the first date I went on of 2026, the man stole my vintage Italian leather gloves. It's kind of along the same lines as manifestation. It's like, you have to envision yourself and put yourself in the position of where you want to be. Like, position yourself where you want to be, and you will get there. And so, imposter syndrome. So if you know who you are, you know what you bring to the table, regardless of if you already have it, like what you can bring to the table, you are set. Like, you are set. No doubt about it. I will promote Fake It Till You Make It until the end of time, okay?